Good morning. Good morning. So it's 2:42 a.m. I'm on my way to my favorite destination spot, and I'm gonna share something. I'm gonna share something pretty cool. Now, life is a life is a hell of a teacher, and I say that because the way that it teaches you a lesson and the things that it takes you through to the normal human eye and to the normal human reasoning makes no complete damn sense whatsoever. But in its own special way, which really, when you put in perspective, makes life that much more fulfilling. And I'll kind of interject this real fast before I go into what I'm gonna say. Every time you try to bypass every time you try to bypass the process, whether it's the process of losing weight, whether it's the process of gaining wealth, whether it's the process of raising your child, and the way that you can try to bypass the process of weight is by thinking that there's some quick fix diet out there. The way you can try to bypass wealth, getting it the right way, is by spending your hard-earned money on lottery tickets versus investing in long-term investments that will bring you back a higher guaranteed return over time versus upfront. And then trying to bypass the process of raising your children is by wishing them older so that they are now no longer under your roof, and now you're not responsible for them monetarily. Well, you've just missed everything about their growth because you were trying to save a couple dollars. And that's something that we're all guilty of. Whether you admit it or not, you're guilty of it. So, what I'm going to say right now is that life has its funny way of teaching you certain lessons. And if you can come to appreciate the way that it teaches you lessons, then you'll actually come to appreciate life in itself. With that said, I was at this event yesterday. It was put together by my brokerage, and as usual, they're always phenomenal. I always surround myself with phenomenal people. I always have, even if they were the worst even if they were drug dealers. I always surrounded myself with the most brilliant, smartest drug dealers. Even if I ran with a gang, I surrounded myself with the hardest gang. I've always surrounded myself with the best of the best. And I might have went through this whole event and 99% of it I knew because I follow it. I implement it in my life. But then one thing comes up and he says, and it puts perspective on life. And he simply said this. He said, everything. And the man's name is Rick Steele. He says that everything is uncomfortable until it becomes comfortable. And we start automatically, we want to divert that saying to something that is outrageous, like becoming a billionaire or opening up a corporation or something so far and outlandish that we're not a part of. But I'll take it back to what he said, which was something very basic. It was uncomfortable learning how to drive. It was uncomfortable when you kissed your first person. And I remember the first person I kissed, and damn it, I ran into that person like a couple months ago while I was showing their house. Funniest thing in the world. I told my wife about it. BS on that. So with that said, everything is uncomfortable. And life has its very special way of teaching you things and putting you in these uncomfortable situations. And it also gives you the ability to reflect on those different uncomfortable situations, which should give you the power to go through whatever it is that you're trying to bypass now on your road to success. See, simply put, just as Gary Vaynerchuk came out and said there's no reason for anybody to claim that they can't make money, because as simple as it is to go to a yard sale or go into a a Craigslist ad or going to a Facebook group where they're giving away free stuff. Take the free stuff, repost it online, and sell it for $1 profit. There's no reason for you to be broke. There's no reason for you to. There's no reason for you to feel like you have to stay in this uncomfortable state of mind, because at some point in time, everything was uncomfortable until it became comfortable. So when you're trying to bypass the process, what you're essentially doing is you're bypassing the beauty of the growth, which is life. If life was about quick fixes, then we would just go ahead and go through it in about 15 seconds and die, because that's about the expectancy of somebody who wants to just go quick. For me, I end up appreciating my business when I have to work a little bit harder to put a deal together or keep a deal together and make sure I get my client in a home. It becomes a little bit more precious to me versus just being able to say, hey, I sold 50 homes this year. No problem. Bang, bang. There's no sense of accomplishment with things that just come simple and easy. You know, my second quarter goal is to run 6 miles, is to be able to just run consecutively 6 miles, to have a 4-minute mile. These are my goals. That 4-minute mile one, that's right, to do it. But consider, just simply consider, if you ever, and most people are so damn paranoid and panicked and manicked throughout anything that goes on in their life, that they never will stop to think and just reflect that the best thing that they ever had came with some pain. The childbirth, pain. The appreciation of love, death. The appreciation of money, loss. The appreciation of a job, lost. You notice every time you actually gain a deeper appreciation for something, it always comes on the heels of something that has happened that has been traumatic in some way, shape, or form. Every time you try to bypass the process, what you're doing is you're shorting life and giving and not allowing it to give you the fullness of what it actually is intended for. So my advice, because I am on that path of enlightenment, of that path of understanding, on that path of purpose, on that path of what's this all about, then I know that behind every dark cloud comes a shiny, bright sun. And that without that process, everything would kind of be meaningless. You know why people like home cooked meals? Because of the process, the things that are involved with actually putting that together. You know? Because the time, the effort, the love, the attention that's paid to it, nothing can compare. Not restaurant food, not fast food, nothing can compare to home cooked meal. It's because the process that was put into it makes it that much more special. And you're cheating yourself every time you try to get around that process, every time you try to look for a shortcut, every time you try to avoid what's uncomfortable. Everything was uncomfortable. See, you need to put certain certain little catchphrases. You need to be able to put them in proper perspective so that every time you get in a position, you know how to word it, and you know how to feel it, and you know how to follow through with it, and you know how to proceed. And you know how to come out of that manic and that panic state of mind of always thinking that you have to bypass the process in order to get to what you want. You're shorting yourself, you're shorting life, you're shorting the beauty of things. Period. No ifs, ands about it. No two ways to look at it. It is what it is, and life is set up, and it is designed to be that way. But it's also designed to give you a free choice, because had we all been walking around enlightened, then it would be too much like heaven. And right now we're in a position where we're able to get the taste of what it feels like to get heaven on earth. And you have to be mindful of that. If you're not, then you're just living to die.